guys, welcome back to Swero TV. I'm Ratak Pata, your host with the most. Alright, so last week I took a little bit of a break from the videos. But anyway, we're back. The other week we actually discussed interpretation of cash flow statements for businesses. But this week, if you actually realize, I alternate with the weeks. I alternate the topics. The other week is personal finance, the other week is actually for SMEs. This week is personal finance week. So this week we're going to be talking about personal finances when your income has not been impacted. We've actually been talking about when your income has been impacted, you've lost your income, or your income has actually been reduced. We've talked about in the previous videos. If you actually haven't seen them, go back into Swero TV YouTube page and actually check out all the videos that we've actually recorded. Very useful information that will help you with your personal finances as well as your company finances. All right, so today we're going to be talking about when a company is actually not a company, so when your personal finances have not been impacted, your income has not been impacted ever since the pandemic, right? What can you do? And it's super important to talk about this now, because I think a lot of us now have seen that what this means is actually when we keep saying, guys, please make savings for a rainy day, please always have a backup savings. This is what it means, that any disruption can happen. As we've all seen, a disruption has happened in the whole world. A pandemic has come, it has affected businesses, and so therefore if they affect businesses, it's going to affect employees' incomes, etc, etc. So if your income has not been impacted, it's now time. Consider yourself very lucky and blessed, but now it's actually very important now to plan well, for in case anything happens, then you are able to say, you know what, I have my backup plan sorted, I have my school fees sorted for my kids, just in case anything happens, right? So it's super important. We also need to also make sure that we are also covered medically, because because it's a pandemic, we don't even know what other pandemic might hit us. We might lose our lives. Who are our children going to be left with? Those are things that we need to be able to discuss. But I'm going to be discussing in detail about talking about death, talking about wills, possibly with the coming episodes. But today I'm going to be talking about when your income has not been impacted, what plans should you put in place now for you to actually have a backup plan for anything that might happen, any disruption that might happen with your income. All right, very first step, what can one do? Where can you possibly start? Very important that you start actually realizing that there's a lot that I would like to believe, for me, there's a lot that we can actually live without. This pandemic has also shown that there's a lot that we can actually live without. We don't actually have to work from the office. We can actually work from home. It works out just fine. What does that mean? That means you are saving on your gas, having to go every day to the office, and that on its own is a saving. It is so important for us to realize the saving, because what ends up happening actually most of the time is that you will not go to work and actually have this your car at home and not spend on petrol, and you don't even realize how much you're actually spending on petrol. That extra money is probably going somewhere else. You are you tiba everywhere, like you are covering. So there's always something, any expense that will always come. So it's super important for you to realize your savings. When I say realize your savings, I mean ensure that when you've actually managed to cut down somewhere, ensure that you take that money into a savings account or actually an investment account. All right, for example, when you've been spending, you have to just figure out how much have you been spending on petrol when you were actually going to the office daily. For example, if you're actually spending 500 pula per month on petrol for you to actually go to work, that means you need to take out 500 pula from your income and actually put it on your savings or on your investment account, so that you per month, it should be actually automatically going, because now you are no longer spending that much in gas because you are no longer going to the office. So that is super important that you put it aside. Okay, that petrol money, I'm going to put it aside. I'm making a saving, and actually realize that saving so that it works out for you. And we don't want where now you are busy saving but you're not even realizing that money that you are supposed to be saving. All right, another thing you are probably also saving on is lunch money. If you actually that kind of person that you were probably buying lunches every day at work, realize that money. How much was I spending? How do you realize the money is how much was I spending per day when I was actually at the office, instead of me buying lunches? When I was actually buying lunches, maybe you were spending 20 bucks per day. 20 bucks per day is what? 20 times 5, how much is that? 120 times 5 is 100. So it's actually 100 pula a week, and then what is that? 400 pula a month on your lunches. So that's how you will able to say, okay, I was actually spending 400 pula a month on my lunches, so I'm no longer spending that money. Where is that money? Take it out of your income. Every time you get your income, take it out and put it into savings. Can you see already how much we're saving? Already we're saving 900 pula a month, but you need to realize that money. You need to see that money that you are actually saving. Now, taking it back at home now that we've realized that there's the other things that we can't live without, that when you're at home, I'm sure you've realized that groceries that you can do without. There's a lot that we're paying for that we don't need to be paying for. Can you actually live without cable TV? Possibly, yes. We have been realizing we can live without cable TV now. You know, there's Netflix, there is Showmax, there is YouTube. My kids are fine. We are fine. Those are the things that you need to be able to prioritize and say, okay, how much was I paying for cable TV every month? If you're paying 500 pula per month, take that 500 pula and actually take it to your savings account. That's the only way you will actually realize, or you will actually realize the expenses that you've actually reduced in your life. It's actually calculating how much you were actually spending on a particular thing or a particular service that you were actually using, and actually take that money monthly out of the account. So imagine if you actually accumulate, let's say now it's no longer cable TV, which is 500 bucks, the lunch, which is 400 bucks, and the petrol, which is also 500 bucks. How much is that? This is 1,000 plus 400, this is 1,004. So you can actually save 1,400 pula a month, and you need to be able to actually take that 1,400 because you were spending it anyway, so the money is there, so it shouldn't disappear to other things as well. All right, so another thing that we also realized is that we've actually schools have been impacted on to a certain extent. Some of us have not taken our children back to school, so that money that you are paying for school fees, what are you doing with it? So that is the money that you need to be putting aside for future school fees for your children, right? These are the things that you need to be able to see. I mean, if you are not taking your kids to school, then what are you doing with the money that you were paying school fees with? Make sure you put it aside as well. If you're paying 7,000 pula, or you're paying, I don't know, 18,000 pula per month on school fees, or whatever that you are paying, not per month but per term on school fees, take that money out. If it means you take it out monthly, it's fine. Take it, like for instance, if you're going to say, if I say take it out monthly, I mean, let's say you are paying 7,000 pula, right, on school fees per term. Maybe you can divide that by the number of months that are in a term, which are probably 3 or 4 months. So you just say 7,000 divided by 4, and then you are able to save that money monthly and actually put it aside. It's super important for you to realize these savings and actually ensure that you have the savings, so that for anything that can happen in the future, you have a backup plan. All right, so it's super important, and I can't stress this enough, because it's so easy for us to make these cuts of expenses, but something else comes up, or we're gonna go out, treat ourselves, because you see extra money, you're like, oh, maybe we can get this, things that you actually do not need, right? Yeah. Now, the very important thing is as well, right now, it's important now to start thinking about your other source of income, right? So Your other source of income can come in many ways. It can also come in with investments that you are actually making. These savings that you are making from cutting down whatever that you do not need in your home, the things that you can do without in your home or in your life, those that money that you've actually realized, when you actually make sure that you are accumulated well and you make a proper investment for it, talk to your asset manager and actually talk about having compound interest investment accounts that for in the long run you end up just earning the interest and your money remains invested. Those are the kind of investments you need to start thinking about now, so that in the future you are able to just relax and actually have your money coming in and it remains invested, right? This is now also a time to start thinking about your pension. Your pension, if you do not have any pension plan or your employer does not have any sort of pension plan, you can actually start making your own. You can actually organize your own type of pension plan for yourself. I think the different insurance companies have annuity. They actually do have what you call it, the pension annuities that you can actually invest in. I know Botswana Life has one, so talk to any Botswana Life agent or broker that can actually help you get the annuity, the pension annuity that you can actually get yourself for. And another thing that I always say as well is there's no harm in having different types of pension plans. You don't have to only have one, because what happens actually when you retire, most of the time you do not get, and when you retire and you get your pension is almost a quarter of your salary monthly. So if you actually want to maintain the same lifestyle that you've been having with your full salary, maybe it's best you actually have different types of pension plans, have different types of investments that you will bring in income for you when you are actually retired, and it will be income that will sustain your lifestyle, or you can even make it better than it was. If anything, you still want to travel the world because you'll have more free time on you, so you might even want to have more income for you to actually enjoy your life while you are retired, right? So those are the things that we are going to get deeper into it, because I actually want to interview a few guys who we can talk about your pension plans and what can you actually do with the pension plan, and what are the options available with pension planning. And I would like to also possibly later on we also talk about wills, where we need to start writing wills, we need to start making a plan for when we actually, in case we die. So those are the future videos that are coming, because we're facing this pandemic. Anything can happen. I could drop dead tomorrow. Do you have any plan for your children? Do you have any savings for your children? You see, those are the things that you need to start thinking about and seeing, how can I properly invest my money and have a backup plan for my children, life insurance for my children, and all those things. Those are things that we are going to discuss a little bit later. Today I wanted us to discuss on when your income is not impacted, how can you realize and start saving and actually start aligning yourself with the investments that are there in place. I hope this was helpful today. Ensure that you just to wrap it up a bit and just remind you what we are actually talking about. Ensure that if your income is not impacted, ensure that you are making proper savings in place for yourself. Is that realizing the things that you can do without, and those savings that you are actually making, you don't, let's say you're, like I've showed you're actually saving about 1.4 a month just from 3 things. So imagine how many things you can actually save from. So if you can actually save that amount, you don't have to necessarily put 1.4 in one account. Do not put your money in one basket. You can actually take 400 there, 400 a month could be for emergencies, and then maybe the 1,000 a month could be for your children's school fees or future school fees or whatever that you would want to do, or separate it, make it 500 go there, 500 to go to another investment account. All right, so it's super important for you to know that. And remember, again, I talked about your pension. Look at your pension, look at if it's going to be enough for when you retire. These are the things to start making plans on, especially now. All right, we're gonna go deeper on it in the next coming episodes, because I don't want to make this episode too long, but we are gonna go deeper on it, on making sure that you plan for in case you are actually not here or when you actually retire. All right, bye for now. I wish you a great weekend, and I hope you take better care of yourselves. Okay, bye for now.